welcome to the Mindful Money Podcast. This podcast is a weekly exploration into a new philosophy of money through psychology, philosophy, and practical wisdom. In this episode of the Mindful Money Podcast...
But even if you were in a job and it was with a boss, it's not that they're not paying you enough. We take it as we're not making a lot of money, so we're not good enough to make more money. We're not. It's our fault.
Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of the Mindful Money Podcast. I am so excited to welcome Allie McAdam to the show. Allie works with the ambitious population of the world who desperately want to shout their passions from the rooftops. I love that, Allie. She's a self-taught web designer turned Instagram strategist and is also the host of the Passion in Business podcast. That podcast turns wannabe goals into self-proclaimed successes. And when she's not doing any of those things, she can be found spending as much time as humanly possible with her, quote, lovingly sassy 2-year-old. You can learn more about Allie at alliemcadam.com. Hey, Allie, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
Chris, thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I was so excited. And I can't tell you just how much I've been looking forward to this, even though you've canceled our little date here a couple of times. So
we had to reschedule.
Yeah, we had to reschedule. So it's nice to be here, and I'm really, really grateful and humbled to be on your show.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So I feel like that intro did not do you justice. I only gave a sliver of who you are. So
okay.
Who are you deeper than that? What do you do? What are some of the things you've done recently, and how have you transformed people?
Well, wow, I love that. I was all prepared, and then that last little bit, that was really powerful.
Oh,
nice.
I throw people off. It's fine.
You did, just a little bit. I pride myself on not being so thrown off, but you're hitting home here. So personality-wise, I like to say that my son is sassy, and I have no idea where he gets it from, but really I do, because that's just all about me. I love reaching other people, and I love just being myself. And whether that's sassy, sarcastic, and fun, then that's how I do it. As far as business goes, I started this. So I like to tell people I was one of those stories where I started off with 3 jobs, 9 to 5, not full-time jobs, but jobs, jobs, just over brokes, 3 of them. Trying to make it through as a single full-time mom, and then switched over to, okay, I want to have my own business because I'm sick of constantly taking him to the babysitter. I'm sick of constantly having him gone, and I'm sick of missing these milestones and not even able to make the bills anyway. So switched over to the business model, and I loved that last little bit that you said is how I've been able to change other people, or how I've been able to affect them. That's one of the biggest things that I like to work on. I'm a huge self-development person. Nice. And that kind of plays into what you kind of have to be with business, right? Because your business is a foundation of you. So whatever you do, work on yourself first, because that's where everything else is going to be able to stand on, right?
Well, and that's what everything's supported by. Absolutely.
Exactly. It's the foundation of everything, especially when you're an entrepreneur like me. So I acknowledge that, and I'm willing to work on myself, even my faults, which I do have them. I've got plenty of them. But working on them helps with that foundation. So yeah. And I started my business because I wanted to not only make money, but I really wanted to be able to attribute to the world. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to help other people. And even if that was one person, even if I go through all of this and one single person was able to go, Allie, you changed my life, then everything's accomplished. I'm good, and I can just move on. I can hang my hat. That was my main goal, and still is. And so I'm going to keep on trudging along with that in mind. Awesome.
Have you had that happen yet? Has somebody come up to you and been like, "You're awesome"?
So not in a dramatic, Allie, you changed my life. This happened. Not like that, but I have had. I've started to finally get to that point where I've gotten emails that are saying, you've done this and this for my business, or I'm so inspired by your story, that kind of stuff. So nothing as dramatic as I would, my goal is that I could change somebody's life. But, those little things can.
I think that's how we met too. I think I sent you a message and I'm like, Allie, you're awesome. Let's talk.
Did you? I can't even remember how we met. It's so funny because half the time when I meet people now, it's online. I'm like, was it on Facebook? Was it on Instagram? Was That's it on awesome. And what did we say? So yeah.
So you mentioned that you had 3 jobs, 3 jobs. I love the just over broke analogy. That's perfect. I mean, and that's what I found in my experience too, is when I had a job, I was matching my lifestyle to my income, and I always felt broke no matter how much I made.
Yeah,
and then
like that.
Yeah, and I mean we can go into that, sure.
Yeah.
So it felt like I was literally like, I got a raise. Oh, let me get all the things that I wanted to get and that I feel entitled to get. And now I don't have any money left. What the hell?
Yep,
And
so that raise didn't do anything. It just caused more problems.
Exactly. That's exactly why I created the Mindful Money platform. Actually, I don't know how much you follow it, or I know we talked a little bit before the show here, but
I did a little bit of stalking, so I've got
a little bit
idea of it, but
just a little though.
Yeah, we covered that. Apparently, I need to do more stalking. So, not a creepy way for everyone that's listening. I hope that doesn't come off wrong.
That's all right. But the way that it works is I've actually taken hacks, like personality hacks and human hacks, and plugged them in so that we get in our own way, so that we don't always feel like we're running our wheels in mud. And it's really meant to be this transition. It's supposed to help people with the transition to being an entrepreneur, having their own business, and et cetera. So based on, you were talking about that earlier. Do you feel fulfilled by where you're at now? And are you making the same amount of money?
I love that. So it depends on whose definition you're going off of, right? Because some people could say, are you fulfilled? AK, are you making millions of dollars? Then no, I'm not. What
do you think fulfillment is for you?
Right. So, but in my definition of fulfilled, it would be, so I personally believe that every single person has a different definition of success, and not a single one of those is wrong. The definition of success needs to go to yourself and to, what you want to be able to accomplish. And that doesn't have to be weighed down by money. It doesn't have to be weighed down by physical items. It needs to be weighed down by what you want and who you believe you can be. Again, I know, cheesy, but that's me.
Not cheesy at all. No. I mean, you sound like the young Tony Robbins.
Oh, great. That's totally what I was going for. What a compliment.
Was it really?
No, but I'm definitely going to take the compliment and run with it. So, but my definition of success is being able to be me, but be willing to continue to better myself. Like, I'm never going to be perfect. I understand that, but I'm willing to still work for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then another aspect of success is being able to be there for my son, my little cute, sassy little 2-year-old, and not miss any of those milestones, but have a lifestyle with him where, we have that financial security, we have that happiness, we're able to live a life together where I don't miss anything and I'm there for him, but I can still have that little ambitious self that I'm competitive and I'm ambitious. I'll throw that out there. So I'm allowed to own both. And what's funny is both of those kind of feed each other, if that makes sense. And I can explain that more later on, but it allows me to live the lifestyle that I want with the people that I love the most.
Well, it makes total sense. It's all about balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that could go into a whole other thing. Like, people are always talking about, work-life balance. How do you find it? What's the perfect, ingredients and function? And what's the perfect recipe for work-life balance? I'm telling you right now, there is no perfect work-life balance. What's the perfect work-life balance is what works for you. And that is going to mean tweaking it like crazy for a long freaking time, right? So it's when I say that they feed each other, it means that my son being with him feeds my motivation to make, money, because I got to pay the bills. I got to buy him that toy that he wants that he puts in the cart without me noticing. Yeah, in the grocery store and all that jazz. And then vice versa, my business, feeds me being home with him without having to go to 1, 2, 3 jobs.
Are you making the same amount of money?
Oh, right. Sorry, I missed that part. I am making more.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I mean, from that, you're happier, of course.
Yeah. And I know that some people are probably like, money equals happiness, or I guess you could say money equals the root of all evil. I guess it just depends on your perspective, right? But I think that I'm not happier because I have more money. I'm happier because it's allowed me to not have to, that I'm allowed to be home with him. You know what I mean? That I'm allowed to, when I need to, sit in my pajamas in bed with him and just work on my phone and watch a movie all day with him. You know what I mean? So my definition of money does not equal, even if I was making less, I would probably still be doing this.
But as you're taking that action, as you've transformed, how has your relationship with money changed?
So, so many people, like I've said before, think that money equals success or think that you need money to be happy. My relationship with money hasn't really changed. It's allowed me to live a little bit of a different lifestyle. It's allowed me to, but my relationship with it hasn't really changed. And I know that might sound weird, or some people might be going, okay, liar, you're not really telling the truth here. Let's be honest. My relationship with money, and all the way from the beginning, even when I couldn't pay my bills, especially when I couldn't pay my bills, one of the sentences that I would tell myself to help me feel better, because you got to have a couple of those to make sure you get through those hardships, those little demons in the back of your head, you got to do them a little bit. I would always tell myself, the
demons. It's okay.
Yeah. I would always tell myself, there's always more money. Yes. And I know some people might take that as, well, you can't just go spend everything you have thinking that, well, there's always going to be more money. Let me explain. It's not that I'm not saving my money. It's not that I'm not being responsible with it, because I am. I'm a total budget freak. Let's just put that out there, like insane. Like if I showed you it, I don't know. It's like totally dorky, especially for my age. Apparently people who are my age don't do that, but whatever. But my perspective on that, which is there's always more money, it's that when I'm going through the grocery store, my son likes to do this thing where he'll grab things and he'll put it in the cart. And sometimes I won't notice. So I'll get all the way to the checkout stand, right? And I'll be putting things on the line and going to pay for it. And I'm like, I don't remember putting this in. And I'll realize my child got it. And then when you go to put it, if you're a parent, you understand this. When you go to put it back, a tantrum starts to play out, right? And it's not just in your child who's freaking out. It's also a little bit in yourself. It's you freaking out saying, I can't believe I can't buy this for my child because obviously he wants it. And then you start playing back and forth with that guilt, with the, well, I need to be able to put gas in my car so I can drive home, and back and forth, especially if you're just making ends meet. But what's nice to know is saying that sentence, there's always more money. I can buy this $5 thing. And you know what? If I have to hustle harder to go and make more money, I mean, I know $5 is maybe not the best example with just a little toy, but I think it's just the principle of it.
Oh, yeah. There's this phrase I use. It's every time I pay for something, there's more where that came from. And I was doing that even when I was buying like bottles of water and couldn't buy food, like
I love that. Yeah. Even same with groceries, even same with food, with bills. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm going to have to like pay this bill late or, I can't afford this bill, or I want to be able to spend it on something else. Pay the bill and go, there's always more money to make. And if I have to hustle harder, and I don't really like that word hustle, but I guess I'm just trying to put it in perspective. If I have to work harder,
I have to do more.
If I have to stay up later tonight to make sure I get one new client or make a little bit more revenue or open up a new stream of revenue, which I'm a huge fan of after losing, going up and down the entrepreneur line. I figured that one out after a while.
You need a few of those.
Yeah, definitely. It makes it so that you go, okay, there's always more money. And if I have to work harder to get it, I'm going to do that.
And sometimes it's about us too, right? Like I know for me, and what I teach with the clients that I work with here at Mindful Money is that it's a matter of sometimes you just need to get in our own way. So if you know that you're that positive about, hey, I can always make more, I can do a little more, I can get more money for whatever this thing is, then you know that if you, Tony Robbins says this actually, he makes this really good point. If you take 30% of your income and you just cut it off the top, if the government just did that to you, right? Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be happy, but you'd have to just manage and deal with it, and you'd figure it out. That's the first thing I tell people is you're not going to light
the rest of your money on fire.
No, and you've always been okay. You've always been taken care of, right. And there's more where that came from. So one of the ways that like we talk about getting in our own way is actually taking money right out of the check when you get it and putting it aside for those things that you want, because ultimately it's about not getting the things that you want that makes you feel like you don't have enough.
Yep. Why are you interviewing me? Why is this not on?
I mean, we could use snippets, right? We can go back and forth.
I love that. I so resonate with where you're coming from. And I love your questions, like the one of, what's your relationship with money? Because I know that is a huge problem with people. And that alone is the reason why they have problems with money. And I'm not saying I haven't. I have. I definitely have. But your relationship with money really just comes down to your perspective.
Yeah. And I want to go a little deeper. What do you think is the meaning of money? Like,
Okay.
why money? And people get hung up on it, right? Like, I've noticed even within myself that if I don't have money, I feel my self-worth, like my I don't have enough voice coming up. And if I do have money, then I feel powerful. But I have to constantly remind myself of my own understanding of what that is. So it sounds like you've experienced some of that, some of that. I'm wondering.
Definitely. I mean, it's like, so when you're low on money, when you're not making a lot, it's funny how we suddenly take that very, very personally. Yeah. It's not that our boss isn't paying us enough. I mean, if you're an entrepreneur, you understand that's not the case at all.
You're your own boss. Sorry.
Exactly. But even if you were in a job and it was with a boss, it's not that they're not paying you enough. We take it as we're not making a lot of money, so we're not good enough to make more money. We're not. It's our fault.
We don't deserve it, right?
Yeah, I've definitely had those so many times. Back to those demons, right? And of course, that little sentence, there's always more money. I can't tell you how many times I would literally say it out loud because it would help so much. It would definitely put things in perspective.
They say that you need 3 positive thoughts to offset each negative thought.
Is that what they say?
That's they. I don't know who they are, but I've heard that.
No, I love that. I think I have more than 3. I don't know
if
I need the actual pep talk. Yeah, I don't know if I need the extra help or not, but I definitely agree with that. I like, I try to be a very positive person. I know that it's not always going to happen, especially when it comes to money, because money, for some reason, equals emotion for so many people. I think for everyone, really, money equals emotion, and those emotions can get you so tied up. And I totally understand that.
So, what's another word that we could use instead of money? Because I know for me, I don't have a lot of money. Just that word. I interviewed somebody the other day, who is a great interviewer, Cody Boyce. I know you know the name, and I interviewed him, and he's a great person to interview. And when I asked him the opening question about what his relationship with money is, he like tripped over his words. He apologized afterwards. He apologized. He's like, dude, I am never like that. Like the word just hung me up.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So it's something else that we can use as somebody who inspires others. I'm curious what your take is on this.
I think back to what's another word we could use for money? Thinking on that,
or what can we tell ourselves, or how can we circumvent? How can we get in our own way of all this stuff?
That's a good question. I think we could go with money I think it just comes down to lifestyle, and that depends on how you budget it, right? I mean, it goes down to how you take care of your money and how you categorize it, I guess you could say. But it comes down to lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle you want to lead? And what's funny to me is some people who are making very, very little, because I've been there. I've been really, really, really low, but I still was happy because, especially at the beginning of my business, we talked about this, right? I was making very, very little money, but I was home with my son. And that was my ultimate goal. That to me was success, right? Going into my definition. So I was still happy. It equaled the lifestyle I wanted to live. So even though I was making less, it was still a lifestyle I was happy with. Now, not to say I don't have goals, because I definitely do. And so I do want a higher lifestyle, but I think that we all just have to be willing to fix that lifestyle. And of course, money has to be a playing role in that, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on your perspective, back to that. But definitely, I think it comes down to you can be happy at whatever stage you're in, however big of a pile of money you have, but it just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. And I love, wow, that bit about lifestyle, I think is really powerful, because what I know is, like, with all the media out there, with all the TV, all the telling us what we should buy kind of stuff going on, I see how one could have a message that their lifestyle should be way up at the top, but their means aren't there. So it's almost as if this internal tension is this disjointedness between the lifestyle that we want and the lifestyle that we have. And the closer we can bridge that gap, the easier it is to kind of mitigate some of the stuff.
And you can have that. Like, if you see that lifestyle you want in a magazine or whatever, you can have that. I'm a huge believer of you can have anything you want as long as you're willing to work for it. And that's a huge caveat to that. And so many people aren't willing to work for it. They just think of, I deserve it, or I just want to have it. It's just going to come to me. I want to get as many shortcuts as I can to get there as quickly as I can. That's not how it works. I mean, I've had to work so hard just to be able to be, you know what I mean? Everyone does. Everyone has to work really hard to be where they're at. But if you want to keep on moving forward and you want to get to that next level, you want that magazine lifestyle, that's fine. I'm not going to tell you you can't have it. Freaking go get, if you can get there faster than I can, kudos to you. But I promise you, I'm going to get there.
Yeah. If that's what you want, of course.
Exactly. If that's what I want. Yeah.
Is that what you want?
I wouldn't say the magazine lifestyle. I'm a very family girl, so as long as I've got a nice little family home, I'm good. I mean, I definitely have goals, but I wouldn't say the magazine lifestyle because that's not really to me living. That's just that's vacation life, I guess. I want to be real. I want to have a real life, which is, you know, if my house is messy, that's fine. And in magazines, the houses are not messy, so
That's true.
I guess I can't have the magazine life.
Well, it depends. You could always hire the house cleaner, right?
That's true. I mean, with my child, it would have to be like a full-time job for the house cleaner, but yeah.
So, like, how important is money in this whole thing then? I mean, if we're talking, of course, this is the topic of mindful money. Of course, that's the name of the podcast, but let's just take this philosophical exploration down this little rabbit hole and, you know, can we be successful without money, do you think?
So everyone's going to say, I know that everyone that's listening to this question, they're already answering it in their heads. And I have a feeling, and I could be wrong, but I have a feeling they're going, it's incredibly important. It's everything. You can't have lifestyle without money. You can't buy a new car without money. You can't pay your bills without money. But I want to say that it's actually not important at all. And not just to be, you know, the devil's advocate, but let me explain. It's not important at all if you don't have the motivation to go and get it. Right. So if you're not willing to go and make the money, if you're not willing to go and work for bringing in your income or your revenue, then the money's not going to make. If you're not making the money, then you're not going to have that lifestyle. You're not going to have that car. So then money doesn't mean anything to it if you're not willing to go and make it.
What about to life in general?
That can go really, really deep.
That's the point. Come deep with me.
In life in general, I think yes, but that's only because people, you know, not everyone is going to be willing to trade services for free, if that makes sense. So I guess, right? I
mean, we used to trade Pokemon and baseball cards, but video games, you know. Everybody's willing to trade. I think it's just a matter of making it worth it.
What it is and what value it holds, right?
Yeah, buddy. I've said this on the show before. A buddy of mine uses the acronym "Money is my own natural energy yield." Yeah, you just got to be able to make something good energy for somebody else, I think.
I love that. Yeah, totally agree with that.
So where do you want to go? Like, what's left to do for you? That's a question. That's a good question.
Oh, so much. I haven't even like, you know that there's like this really cool image that's going around really popular in social media where it's an iceberg, right? And it shows that people see success as that little top of the iceberg, but you don't see everything else that goes underneath the water, everything else that goes into success. This is like the tip of the iceberg. Like I'm one of those people that I'm never going to be happy, and not in the sense of I'm not happy with who I am or where I'm at, because I am. I've already established that, but I am never going to be happy with just settling. Like I don't see myself as being one of those people that's retiring. And that's why I love entrepreneurship, because I never have to. You know what I mean? I don't ever see myself going, all right, I've made enough money. I'm good. I'm just going to stop. I love the game. I love being able to just constantly be learning. I love being able to constantly be helping other people. And I love being able to leave behind something for my children, my son. So I'm one of those people where I don't see myself ever stopping. I definitely want to keep on going. And I definitely want to be able to continue to contribute, and that's both for the world and other people and for myself and for my family.
So what do you want to contribute to the world? I mean, I know you make these, so what do you want to contribute to the world? I mean, I know that there's this purpose that you're on right now. I've seen some of your speaking. How do you want to change people and transform them? And how can money play a role in that?
I think that's a beautiful question. And I think that I don't have this big grandeur mind like thought or dream that I think I'm going to be able to achieve world peace all on my own. I get that we all have a part to play in big aspects like that, but I know that I'm not going to be able to do that on my own, of course. My dream, or the thing that I'm working for, is just being able to help others understand that they have the potential to have whatever they want. So I guess I really just want to be able to motivate other people. I really want to be able to give that perspective we've been talking so much on. I love that you talked about this because I resonate so much with it. And this is really speaking to my heart. So I apologize if I'm getting super passionate and talking really fast, because that's what I do when I get passionate about something. But I just want to be able to motivate others and to let them see that I came from a really hard place. I still have hardships. I still go through challenges, but I'm willing to still keep forward. And I just know that so many people have opportunities sitting right in front of them. I believe everyone does. You all have opportunities sitting right there in front of you. It's just your mindset that's blocking it from you. It's just you making it so that you're not going after them. You're not opening up that door, so to speak. You're not allowing those opportunities to come directly into your life, but they're there.
So why aren't we doing that? Why can't we see them? What can we do?
I think money plays a big part in that. Like, we think that, we don't deserve it, or we don't see it, or we think that we need money to have those opportunities, which isn't the case. Because I promise you, I was able to have so many opportunities just off of the relationships that I built. And that can play to what we talked to way before we even really started this whole shindig, this episode. But I think that the way that we can stop those blockers, the way that we can get through that, and this is speaking from experience, so don't just think that I'm not trying to just blow smoke here. This is something that I've personally had to think on so much, because those blockers were there for me too. That mindset was making it so that I wasn't taking those opportunities that were always there. And that is saying to yourself, and this is kind of what we've been talking about this whole time, that you're good enough. You're good enough to have those opportunities. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And I promise you that they are. So just understand and make that little switch in your head. You're good enough to have them. No one else can tell you otherwise. In fact, when people tell me otherwise, then I try even harder, because I love proving them wrong, right?
And there's another thing that you have to say to them.
It's the entrepreneur side of me. But yeah, those opportunities are there. It's your mindset that's blocking them from you. So just say, I'm good enough for them. I'm worth having them. And I don't need the money some of them you do. Understand that investing, you have to have money and all that jazz. But when it comes down to these opportunities that can move the needle, money isn't always a factor. It's mindset that's a factor that'll help get you that money, that'll help move the needle forward, and that will help you have whatever you want and achieve whatever you want to achieve.
That's so awesome. And so true. That's something that I've experienced myself as well, countless times, and something that I know everybody.
Those demons, man, they're strong.
They're strong demons.
Insane how strong they are. Yeah, those little doubts in the back of your head.
And we have to stay connected, but to them, but separate from them, right? So I think the point that you just made is an excellent segue. I think it's a really, really good segue to the big question we ask everybody here, and that's, what kind of world would we be living in if money as we know it never existed?
Another big question.
That's a big question. Go anywhere.
You're good. It's really good. I personally, realistically, I feel like if money didn't exist, we as human beings would find something else to put value on, and that would become the next currency. You know what I mean? So realistically, that's where it would go. What I'm just trying to say, though, is even if all of the money everywhere just completely disappeared, we would. Okay, I get what you're saying. It's fine. Just move forward.
No, I get what you mean. So if money as we know it didn't exist, we'd still find something to go and say, hey, this is the thing. Here, give me 7 of these for 14 of those.
Money is just, if it comes down to, it's paper. You know what I mean? It's just paper, but we put a value to it that makes it so it's more than, an actual notebook or, a tree from what it's made from. It's just paper, but we'll put value to something else to make it so that, like I said, it's the next currency.
How would that change how we think, though?
If we changed our currency to something else?
Okay, so there was a period where money as we know it didn't exist, right? Like there was certainly trading always happening. Cavemen traded sticks or whatever they traded, but and then the colonial people had to negotiate things with other villages and Native Americans, things like that. And there's always been a form of trade, like you're saying. But I feel one of the beliefs, and research actually proves this, that we're taught to believe certain things about money today.
Yep.
So if that whole shell fell away, what creature might we have left? It is a deep question.
It is a deep question, and there's plenty of ways that you can go with it. So I'm just trying to grasp exactly what you're asking.
So this, if we take all the factors of money, and I love your point too about the fact that that we'd always have something to trade. I think that's really important. And also, if we take all the factors of money now, right? Like this message that I think our generation is really not embracing, but the classic message of, go to college, get a degree, get a good job, and that pressure, the pressure that comes with that, and then the pressure that comes with going into debt, and the beliefs that you spoke about the demons and how strong the demons are. You think all that would still exist if we didn't have this shell
It's a good question, and I think that maybe at first, maybe we wouldn't, but I do think that as human beings, because we've gotten to that point, I have to believe that we would evolve back to that point eventually, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
So I think that eventually we would. Maybe it would change our perspective for a while, but I don't know. If we like our money, man, I don't know. It's human beings, so
that's okay.
We do.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, I think we would evolve back to that point, if that plays to what you're asking.
Sure. I mean, it's your answer, right? I'm just trying to go deep, and I think that
you're just trying to throw me off, which you're so good at.
I'm doing it a lot. Yeah. That's okay. I mean, I think I do that with everybody. And if you want to take some time, I can hit pause. No, awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you being on the show, Allie. I love that you took the time to talk with us today about not only your success, but also your family, your passions, your dreams, and what you want to do in the world, and how money really plays into that for you. So once again, I thank you so much. Where can people go to learn more about you? And do you have anything exciting coming up that people can tap into?
Thank you so much. I just want to say, like I said, I'm really humbled and so grateful to be here, especially with an interview. I think that an interviewer who can throw off their guests is a really good interviewer. So I just want to give kudos to you. It's like really, really, you did a really great job, and I was really appreciative to be here.
Thank you.
And where others can find me, obviously my podcast is Passion in Business. I'm a huge Instagrammer, so I have an Instagram course coming out in just this month, actually, which I'm super excited / nervous / ecstatic for. And I can't wait for that to happen. So that's where I'm all about, but you can just find all of that out, and I guess internet stalk me like I did with Chris, and like he's done with me apparently, at alliemcadam.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the compliment. I'm really, really humbled and grateful for that. That means the world to me, especially being relatively new to this podcasting game here. So thank you, Allie.
It's a real quality to have, especially as an interviewer. And I have to tell you, after doing this for a year and a half podcasting, one of my biggest goals was becoming a good interviewer, because that's kind of, the basis of your podcast. And I have to tell you, like, your skill that you have is definitely one that I want to work towards. So
awesome. Well, that means we're going to keep talking. So that's good. And maybe we'll be back on here. I would love to be on your show too. So keep an ear out, guys, for what's the name of your show again?
Passion in Business.
Passion in Business. Keep an ear out for that. Head over to iTunes to subscribe to that podcast. And be sure to join us next week for the next episode of the Mindful Money Podcast. Take it easy, guys. You've been listening to the Mindful Money Podcast for people who want to align their money with their values. Love this show? Head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and review. Want more incredible show content? Head over to mindfulmoneypodcast.com for show notes, past episodes, and a sneak peek at what's coming next. In next week's episode of the Mindful Money Podcast,
you just have to take that burden off of yourself and make the decision that you are. And when you do that, your life and your world will completely open up, and money won't matter to you, and money won't matter in the world.